Hi there, my beautiful works in progress. It is 10:10 Pacific time, and I am happy to see everybody tonight. Oh, I got my glasses crooked. Yeah, okay. Let's start. I really like to talk about healing and about love as political action and as a guiding principle for activism, and how we can really and truly change our lives and our nation. And it really starts inside. It starts from within. So I hope you'll come. I really love to have people's input. I love to hear people's stories. And your human stories, the things that make you human. The embarrassing moments, the funny moments, the painful moments, the thing that you're afraid to say but you need to say to someone. This is a safe space. Okay, I like to start with my own little practice that I do every morning. Hi, Kevin Russell. I'm really happy you're here. I start my day with this little ritual that a dear friend of mine taught me. And I like to sort of channel Jeffrey Holder when I do it, because he really was an important figure in my life. So here you go, Jeffrey. Here you go, everybody. Let's start by giving a little bit of love, okay, to yourself first, because it has to start inside. You have to love yourself to be courageous, and you have to be courageous to be brave, and you have to be courageous and brave to be deeply good and to be an activist. It takes courage in this day and age to be a good person. So let's start. I always say, put my hands up, give yourself some love. I love myself. Go ahead and give yourself some love. I love myself. I am beautiful. I am strong. I deserve to live my life with peace and joy and dignity. And I love you. And okay, I love myself. I always say I've become my own Gomez, because I always loved the sort of duality of Morticia with her dark side and Gomez, who just adored her as she was. So, as your own Gomez, Morticia, I love you so. Okay. I was thinking a lot today about how we break through this kind of barrier where we're listening to I think we're listening to the wrong voices. And I think there are people who truly mean well in the world, but are sort of blinded by preconceived notions or their privilege. There are people who have been blinded by their privilege. It's like wearing blinkers, and their intention in their thought may be right on, but their awareness of what life is like and what it really takes for most people to get through the day is limited. And so they grow up, especially in areas where there's a lot of privilege, people grow up thinking that if you don't have money, you did something wrong. Right? You screwed up somehow. If you are disabled, you did something wrong. If you, as a woman, especially, are a survivor, a rape survivor, for example, what were you wearing? What did you do? How is this your fault? If you're in a situation that is bad, the first assumption is always that you did something wrong. And I'm here to say that is not necessarily even close to the truth, and that you really can't judge the choices someone's made without knowing what the options were, because we don't all have the same options. So if you look at something that I'm doing, like, okay, one example, when my son was a newborn, a few months old, I was really determined that he was going to be breastfed until he was 1, and then I started an organic baby food co-op and all this stuff. Anyway, but he had really severe swallowing problems and respiratory problems, and he couldn't latch on well, and he was starting to lose weight. And my pediatrician said, at this point, you have to supplement with formula. And I was so heartbroken, and I went to the pharmacy, and I'm standing in front of this wall of formulas, and I don't know what to get. This isn't what I planned for. It's not what I want. And I'm holding my baby, and this woman comes up to me and said, you know, it would be a lot better for your baby if you breastfeed. She didn't know who I was. She didn't know my story. She didn't know if my child was adopted. She didn't know if she didn't know anything about my life. And she was judging a choice based on her options, not mine. So that's a small example, but it's something that we do to people a lot. And I'm just hoping that we can start to give each other more grace than that. And we can start to understand that what's happening in our country, maybe it's not my fault. Maybe I voted for the way I wanted to. I think I voted the right way, whatever. But it is our responsibility, and it is our responsibility to change things. And that is going to start first with raising raising the energy, raising the vibe. I know this sounds nutty, but it really is true. With raising the frequency that you are operating under. When you start to move through the world with conviction, with self-conviction, and that energy that says, I know I belong here. I belong in any room I walk into. Catitude, one might say. You know, you got anything I can eat or fuck up in here? Well, no. Well, you're lucky to have me anyway. So when you start to work through the world in your own, giving yourself grace, giving yourself the room to make mistakes and the room to admit to them and the room to ask for help and to own the mistakes you've made. And now I'm talking to men. Right now we're in a time where women are really going through it. We are seeing ourselves bought, sold, tortured. I mean, the horrors are endless. And so, and there is a deafening silence happening in the world right now. And the deafening silence is coming from all the men whose only contribution to this conversation so far has been, well, it's not all men. Really? That's the best you've got? So, again, like I am saying, open yourself up a little. Listen, learn, like be ready to take some responsibility. If somebody tells you that something you said or something they experienced was hurtful, just hold back that first response, that moment where you want to say, well, I didn't do it, I didn't mean to, and just let them talk and listen and see if maybe you can't actually come to understand something. Because right now we need to get together. We need to unify. We need to actually start communicating with each other. We need to actually start loving each other. We need to raise the level of discourse and energy in this country from fear and hiding and anger and loathing to love and determination and valor and integrity and honesty. We've been living in this world that everybody's so filled with obscenity. It's just obscene. It really is. What's happening is horrifying. And so the counterbalance to that is to be profoundly decent. And I really feel like that's possible. I believe in us. I'm going to ask, does anyone out here, I see there's some people here. Yay! Do you have any time that you felt like you were being judged by a decision, or somebody wasn't aware of your options, or maybe you made a mistake? I would love to hear it. I really appreciate what you're saying about our decisions based on our options. I've had people definitely in my life who I felt like were coming from places where, say, maybe they had never been in real financial trouble. Maybe they had never been a single parent. Maybe they had never been through massive illness or the victims of violent crime. Another example is I did this. I always judged people when I was younger. I thought, like, I'd see somebody with bad teeth and I thought, like, that must have meant they had no self-care, or that they were doing drugs, or that there was something wrong. And now, you know, after what I've been through, I realize that that's just not the case. There are a million medical issues that cause dental damage. There are a million life circumstances, including the fact that Medicare and Medi-Cal covers almost nothing in dental care. Like, they'll pull teeth but not replace them. So if you are, and the dental care in this country is outlandishly expensive. And I had to go, I'm going through it myself. And it makes me super self-conscious. Because I had to get surgery last year to replace my jaw. I know that sounds crazy. He did an incredible job. It was less than a year ago, and you can't even tell that under this is titanium. I am titanium. Anyway, and now the next step of that is replacing my teeth. In the meantime, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it doesn't look great. They're not as pretty as they should be. I feel self-conscious, but I'm still here. I'm still talking to the public, and I'm still moving forward because I know how I got here, and I am proud. I am proud of every step of my journey. I am proud of the body that carried me here. I am proud of the scars that show that I am courageous. And I know there are people who might see and think differently, or you gain weight. A lot of women gain weight with trauma. I will say that. And there was a point where the combination of medications and antidepressants and PTSD, frankly, really caused me to gain weight. And I was super self-conscious. But I've also, but it was also like a safety feeling. Like, when I was a young woman, I was a pretty girl, and I bartended and I worked in public, and that attracted a lot of attention. And after surviving the things I've survived, I reached a point where I didn't want attention. I didn't want anyone to notice if I walked into the room. Don't even look. I just wanted, and it was like I was me hiding inside all this cushioning. It was like a safety barrier, because people are cruel and really awful to people who are overweight. They think that it's okay for some reason to be insulting about it. They don't meet your eye. It's really wild. They make women feel like crap after they've had a baby, when they should be supporting us 100%. So I think, it's this kind of stuff where you have to just go in wholeheartedly into building yourself up, into building your confidence, into just not worrying about trying to be this healed version and accepting that every shard of your soul deserves love. And when you fall in love with yourself in pieces, it's actually a much swifter route to finding yourself feeling whole and strong again. And I think that is true for our country. I think that is true for our cities. And that work starts within. That work starts in building ourselves up and giving ourselves love and falling in love with our future self. Falling in love with our future nation. Falling in love with what we can and will be, what we are already. Here's the thing. We are already. In some level, we are already what we wish to be. We know that radical inclusivity is important. We've watched how the exclusive, wealthy world has created toxicity. The American dream isn't about being just being rich. The American dream is that you can come here from anywhere in the world and be an American. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I can't move to Spain and be Spanish. I can't move to Egypt and be Egyptian, but I can move from anywhere to the United States and be American. And that is the American dream. That is beautiful. That is the ideal we're looking for. And it exists. We can already see it in our heads. And what is happening right now isn't that. So now we have to lift ourselves up. Focus on building yourself. Focus on giving your community love. Really reach out. I think one of the most healing things you can possibly do is find ways to feel like you are helping other people, helping others as well as yourself. Is finding a sense of purpose. And it's okay if your sense of purpose for a while is self-care. It should be forever, really. But you have to just bend it out. I think it comes like, I feel like I have to let myself be myself and accept that and know that all of the quirky, weird stuff that is me, that's what makes me. And the people who love me, that's a big part of what they love. It's not the way, nobody ever came back and told the story of how everything went to perfect itinerary, everything went perfect. Like, nobody cares. People love the story of when things, the moment that everything goes wrong and that the adventure really starts. I always loved road trips, and I came after a lot of traveling to believe that the best thing that can happen when you're on a road trip is for shit to go off. Because when something goes off, that is when the real magic starts. I was at Ground Zero on September 11th. My apartment was in the most toxic zone. And we were actually, people don't even know this about it, but like when there was the Oklahoma bombings, it's a long time ago now, but the National Guard was there in 15 minutes. September 11th in New York, we were locked down. We were not allowed in or out of our neighborhood. And the National Guard was kept at a safe distance outside the city for three whole days, testing the air. So it was just us. And yeah, everything had gone wrong. Everybody was heartbroken at a level that, like, the only thing I can come close to comparing it to being at that moment in that place is like the worst, the biggest, the first time, the first real love in your life, the first true love that breaks your heart when you don't even think you can breathe anymore. And one of the hardest moments was actually, I volunteered in a medical, we were setting up gurneys, hundreds of gurneys in rows and rows with tables and stuff, and we were rushing and we're running, and they're thinking there could be 50,000 people coming in. We have no idea what's going to hit. And the doctors, and then we got everything set up, and then came the waiting, and then came the realization that there was nobody coming in because there was nobody to survive. And there was this like pall of silence in the room when we understood that. I mean, if somebody had walked in with a paper cut, they would have been inundated with doctors to take care of them. But what I saw again in there was this community, and I love this in New York. New York really is, like, you can come into New York, you stand on one corner, and you can stand in one spot in Times Square, and you will listen to 20 languages walk by you. Everybody's there. And they live in like a canyon. It's like a canyon land, you know, with the high rises. We're literally stacked on top of each other. So we are living in close quarters there. And people came together in a way that I had not seen before. I mean, people were just, nobody had masks. People were just digging, trying to see if we could find anyone. It was wild. And actually, one thing that was awesome, this is something I don't know if a lot of people realize too, but in the Ground Zero actually burned for about, I think it was 8 months. It was still burning. And I think it was Holland did this. They sent us flowers. They sent New York flowers by bringing thousands and thousands of these incredible daffodil bulbs, and they planted them. I never even saw anyone doing it. I don't even know when it happened. But as spring came in, daffodils are the first flowers up, and there was not a piece of dirt in New York that was not covered in magnificent daffodils. It came as a surprise. And they sent us flowers. People can be extraordinary. And we are about to see, we are seeing the worst of people, but we can be seeing the best. We create our reality. Our reality exists because it's what we feel, it's our perception. And we have an opportunity here to rise. We have an opportunity here to be part of the problem or part of the solution. So I guess I'm just saying, I really hope everybody comes together, and I really want to like get people together more. I'm hoping that soon I will have people join me to sit here and chat, and soon I will be able to have like more like a conference thing set up. I am working on figuring out my technical skills for that. I've never been religious. I'm a New York Ashkenazi Jew. We don't believe in, most of us don't believe in anything after the Holocaust, frankly. I didn't believe in anything. But I have changed. And in this process of healing and in seeing the way that people have stepped forward, people, strangers, have been incredible. And in seeing how it changed, I changed. I started to see it differently. I started to see it like I can't say that I believe in one God. I do believe that God is love. I do believe in love, and I do believe that love is the most powerful force in the world. And I do believe that there are souls that are capable of incredible strength. And I believe that we change our world by, it's like if you did a pointillist painting and you, like the Milky Way, but if from the wrong angle, it might just look like bits scattered. But if you have, I know it sounds strange, okay. If you have distance, if you have the perspective on it, faith in our ability to make this world better, it doesn't come from one grand gesture. It comes from thousands of tiny little moments. It comes from 1,000 points of light. And when you get the kind of perspective that lets you step back and see thousands of points of light, you start to get a bigger picture. And it's magnificent. And we are capable of it. We are capable of becoming those points of light. And it starts with acting responsibly, with teaching our kids to be good citizens, teaching them that a fun activity on the weekend, maybe attending a park cleanup or planting, or really getting them involved in community activism. And seeing them for exactly who they are, whether it's your child, your lover, your friend, you see people for who they are, let them shine, and don't block them with your shadow. Don't make them stand in your shadow. Be generous. And be honest. And right now, if you are black, brown, trans, female, you name it, in this country, it's time to really stand in your truth. It's time to refuse to be a two-dimensional picture. It's time to refuse to be judged by people who have no idea what your options even were. And it doesn't even matter if they do. It doesn't matter. You have to know. You have to know in yourself. I am proud of every step it takes me to get here. And I will treat other people with the kind of tenderness that helped me. And that's what you do. And it doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. And when I talk about, like, integrity, I mean, I realize that sounds pretty obnoxious, really, like radical integrity. I'm not saying that I am a perfect person. I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes on a daily basis, that I don't do things I regret. Sure. The difference is I own them. I make mistakes, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to listen, and I want to listen to you. So maybe withhold judgment next time you see somebody who is in an unconventional package. And you might find out that you're facing somebody with an extraordinary soul. I consider myself to be the luckiest woman in the world. I really do. But that's not because it's been easy. I'm the luckiest woman in the world who happens to have had some of the worst luck. But I am the luckiest woman in the world, and that is because I have found the ability to love and be loved. And to carry on through, and to be here with you, and showing off my fancy new jaw. I was very upset. It took them 4 months to make it in a custom jaw. And I thought it was going to be like West Coast Customs. I was like, bring me, bring me a wood chipper mode. Bring me some cool hydraulics, some Bluetooth. No, just opens and closes. But it works. And no matter what you go through, you are not your trauma. You're not. You're bigger than that. Anyway, I'm keeping it short. I am still recuperating from the heinous cold that seems to have plagued the entire UC Berkeley campus, including my kid, who brought it home to me, which is fine because I couldn't turn down a hug from him anyway. Anyway, I really love you guys. I'm really enjoying talking to you. I really want to get this into a better setup because I really want your interaction. But I'm asking you tomorrow, when you're going out, keep your eyes open. See if you can find a way to step outside of your normal routine just a little. To help somebody, tell somebody they look great when they're walking by you. Help someone with their bag. I mean, little things. Right now, we need it. We need some joy. We need it because it's not extra and it's not silly. It is the way things are going to change. We need kindness and we need action and organization. And this is how we're going to do it. The resistance, not always nice, but deeply good. Because they're acting out of love. They're acting out of that conviction of knowing that you matter. That you matter. That I matter. So I'm asking you, give someone the benefit of the doubt. Maybe ask yourself, before you make a judgment, maybe ask yourself what their options really were. Because we don't have the same options. We are not all in the same boat. We may all be in the same ocean, but some people are drowning. Some people are on dinghies, and some people have luxury yachts. So, we're all in the same ocean. Let's see if we can start pulling people out and getting together. Find a way to meet. Find a way to help. Start a sign-up sheet in your town for people who need groceries brought to them. I don't know. Anyway, I will come up with more and I will be more specific. It is a work in progress because I am a work in progress. And I always say the same thing at the end because it's the way that I've learned to manage so many things. I slept almost the entire day today because I was under the weather. And thank you, universe, because I had a cozy bed and a purring cat and some hot tea. And I talked to my friends. And I saw my son. May I have another day with that, just like that, where I saw people I care about, where I had a cozy place to rest, even if I wasn't feeling great. God, give me another day like that. One more. Find the moments of light. Find your moments of light. I got up, even if I was feeling yucky, and talked to everybody tonight. I am proud of myself for that. That is a moment of light. May I have another day where I could do this. And one more. Thank you. I love you. I hope you love yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow night.